Okay, we're continuing the Holy Grail Wisdom Quotes by E.P. Rogers. We're doing now Henry Miller. We previously did Arthur Miller, then we did Jeffrey Miller, now we're doing Henry Miller. Okay, he's an American novelist, short story writer. He's got a few quotes that are okay. A few things are insightful. Not that much, but a little bit. There are only 3 things to be done with a woman. You can love her, suffer her for her, or turn her into literature. Okay. Music is the can opener of the soul. To be joyous is to be a madman in a world of sad ghosts. Every day the choice is presented to us to live up to the spirit that is in us or to deny it. That's what I think it's so important, is to figure out what should you do with your life. I mean, first of all, you got to do something to make money so you can pay the bills, have a roof over your head, and feed yourself. But after that, you have to make a decision. What do I want to do? What's the best I could do with my time? And then just go for it, you know? Because that'll actually make you happier. That's the best you can do for happiness, is to have a purpose and to go after it. Because I see a lot of people, they're sort of dissipated in 5 different directions. And, you know, they're often not as happy. You know, and I also notice, too, I think a lot of times women, they're a little bit like that. It's sort of like, I think, biologically, they used to always be endlessly busy, you know, having 10 kids. So now if they don't have that many kids, or their kids are growing up, they don't necessarily have that much to do. They have to look for something to do. Like my ex-wife would watch TV a lot. I never watched TV. I never owned a TV my entire adult life. I mean, I'm always wishing I had more time. I would never spend a minute looking at a television set. You know, are you crazy? Okay, says, the only imperative is to follow it, to accept it, no matter where it leads him. Now, that's sort of a very Christian point of view. Lead me to the cross. We all have our cross to bear. There's certain things you can't get out of them. You just have to do them. But you'll have that thing that you really like. Like, I like making this YouTube channel. I like writing my books. And actually, I'll have a quote that's going to come to that in a moment. He says, let me get to that in a moment. He says, okay, I'll just go to it right now. He says, if one believes, then miracles occur. Yeah, basically, one good reason to be a Christian is just they produce most of the great creative work ever since the beginning of the history of the world. It came from the ancient Greeks or the Christians, the vast majority of it. Yeah, there's other groups that produced a lot of great stuff too, but most of it comes from the Christians, and it just gives you the mindset to create great literature, great art, all kinds of good things. So to be like the saints, so you want to have them as role models, okay? The great work must inevitably be obscure, except to the very few. To those who, like the author himself, are initiated into the mysteries. Communication then is secondary. It is perpetuation which is important. For this, only one good reader is necessary. So there's a lot of truth in that. Like if you really study history and intellectual history, like I've been reading quite a bit about Aristotle and the history of philosophy, Aristotle almost disappeared from the face of the earth. First of all, after Alexander the Great was killed, a Macedonian, and Aristotle was a Macedonian, the Athenians then kind of threw his butt out of Athens. Okay, most of his work was lost. We mostly have student notes, and despite the fact we only have a small percentage of his work, it was the foundation of the entire academic system for over 1,000 years, for almost 1,500 years. But it could have been lost. It was almost lost for a long time in the Middle Ages, but luckily the monks, like the Irish monks, preserved it. Some of it came also when the Byzantine Empire, Constantinople, collapsed in 1453. And they brought moreover it back to the West, you know, to Italy, to the Medicis. You know, luckily Cosimo Medici survived and had the money to pay Marsilio Ficino and Pico della Mirandola to study all that stuff, to translate all that stuff back into Latin, into the early Italian, so that those books were available. But it almost died. It's very easy to lose the truth. You look at the great playwrights of ancient Greece, Aeschylus, Sophocles, Euripides, Aristophanes. Lots of their plays were lost. The majority of them. Thank God we got Oedipus Rex, Antigone, and a few other ones. But the majority of their work was lost. So the truth gets lost all the time. And I can tell you, if McDougall didn't save the legacy of Kempner, it'd be lost. Okay, McDougall also helped save the legacy of Pritikin, and Swank, of course. And their legacy would probably have been lost. Okay. It was through McDougall that I found out about those guys. I'm keeping alive the legacy of Gregory Sloop, of Richard Moore, the hypertension guy, and other people, William Roberts, atherosclerosis, because it's easy for it to get lost. And that's kind of how I see it, because people will say to me, why do I write books even though hardly anybody reads my books? Why do I make a YouTube channel even though hardly anybody watches my YouTube videos, and I'm totally shadow banned and ostracized? It's because I know I'm right. And this information, for the sake of mankind, should be preserved. Okay, so it's worth my time to do it, even though very few people are aware of what I'm doing or saying. And I can tell you, the smartest doctors, top of the line AOAs, have said to me, thank God I'm doing this. They say they believe that I'm inspired by God to do all this, to save all this information, to keep it alive. I also know that Western civilization is being destroyed, and 99% of the pros are so stupid they're not even aware it's happening. Oh, it's happening big time. Civilization's going like this, okay? And it looks like it's probably going to continue, the satanic left is winning, dominating, okay? So, freedom, the light of freedom is being extinguished very rapidly. And the public is just so stupid, they're oblivious to it. It's so obvious. It's like 2 + 2 = 4. But anyways, I shall continue as long as there's breath in me to tell the truth and maintain the knowledge of the health of the world, the culture of the world. Western civilization is this great. There's nothing else to compare it to. Other civilizations, nonsense. All they've got is drag queen story day. That's garbage compared to the great achievements of Western civilization. Are you kidding me? So I will continue to preserve it while I can. Okay, anything else from Henry Miller here? Yes, he's got one more quote. He says, "From the little reading that I've done, I have observed that the men who were the most in life, they were molding their own lives. They didn't do much else. They owned little or nothing. They had no illusions about duty or the perpetuation of their kith and kin or the preservation of their state. What they were interested in was truth and truth alone. They recognized only one kind of activity, creativity, creation." I'm kind of like that. Basically, it's sort of like my wife would say to me, my kid would say to me, all you care about is your stupid, books, your stupid YouTube channel. Why don't you go to the beach? Why don't you want to go to this restaurant? Why don't you want to go to this party? And I'm just like, for what? That meant nothing to me. Okay, I'm always pissed off I don't have more time. For every book I've written, I got like 4 books in my head already written. I just got to find the time to write them, because I know I'm doing right. I can see it. The reason I wrote a book summarizing the quotes of Western civilization, summarizing the music of Western civilization, summarizing the art of Western civilization, summarizing the truth in health and nutrition and toxicology is because I don't want it to be lost. It's valuable information. Somebody's got to do it. I don't see anybody else standing up and doing what I'm doing, so I need to do it. And I'm the perfect guy to do it, so I'm going to do it. Anyways, I hope you found that helpful.